Wilderness areas have a history in West Virginia that dates back to the 1970s. Then Congressman Ken Heckler pushed for more wilderness areas in the Monongahela National Forest.
Well, West Virginians from all over the state and visitors from other states go to the fabulous areas of Monongahela National Forest, and it's absolutely necessary to protect these areas against logging, clear-cutting, and other commercialized exploitation.
Our first wilderness bill was 1975, and in that bill, Otter Creek and Dolly Sods wilderness areas were designated. All right, then in 1983, another wilderness bill came along, and we designated Cranberry and Laurel Fork. So it's been over, 25 years since we've designated any wilderness by Congress in West Virginia.
Congress passed the Wilderness Act in 1964. The federal law defines wilderness as an area where the earth and its community of life are untrammeled by man, where man himself is a visitor who does not remain. Currently, about 8.5% of the Mon Forest is set aside as wilderness. A group called the West Virginia Wilderness Coalition formed several years ago to increase that number. Its members are advocating for more wilderness areas in the Mon Forest.
It's part of the national system. It puts it on a map. They become extremely popular, as we know, with our Dolly Sods and Otter Creek wilderness areas in Cranberry. And then it also prevents mechanized stuff. So I know that even though I'm an avid biker, I can leave my bike at home because I love going into wilderness areas and not seeing anything mechanized. Foot travel only, and it's really heavenly.
The current wilderness areas in the Monongahela National Forest are Dolly Sods, Otter Creek, Laurel Fork North and Laurel Fork South, and Cranberry. The Forest Service recommended 4 new wilderness areas when it revised the Mon Forest Plan last year, but it takes an act of Congress to designate wilderness, and that's where the Wild Mon bill comes in. Congressman Nick Rahal introduced the bill in January. It would create 4 new wilderness areas: Big Draft, Cheat Mountain, Roaring Plains West, and Spice Run. Dolly Sods, Otter Creek, and Cranberry would be expanded. But not everyone is thrilled with this list. The State Division of Natural Resources wants Congress to drop Cheat Mountain and Spice Run from its list and add Roaring Plains East and North and Seneca Creek instead.
We have several thousand acres of wilderness already. What our question was and still remains is, how much wilderness do you need? It was pretty obvious to us that West Virginia was going to get some more wilderness. When it came out in the paper that your entire congressional delegation had supported the bill as presented by Congressman Rahal, it was pretty obvious to us that the decision had been made that we were going to get more wilderness. Now, to look at that, if we're going to get more wilderness, let the DNR have some say in where this wilderness is going to be. If we can draw some boundaries and make some trades and some changes, we'll live with the wilderness, but we need to pull out what is beneficial to us, what is most important. So that's what we did.
Still, there are people in Tucker County who don't like either proposal. The Convention and Visitors Bureau opposes the proposed Dolly Sods expansion. It's concerned because the wilderness designation would prevent mountain biking in this area.
I think we would take the position we don't think we need, as far as Dolly Sods area, which affects us. We think that we would not want to see any of that wilderness. That we think it's the way it is pretty well protected. Well, it's a matter of economics from our perspective. Our destiny is determined by people that do not live here, do not depend upon this for a living, and of course they're going to look at things differently than we do. But to us, it's a matter of survival in some cases, and certainly of maintaining a good, profitable business. These things are necessary for us. It's not necessary for those people from out of state or even out of the area.
The International Mountain Bike Association, of whom I'm the West Virginia representative, we have supported the Ridge and Valley Wilderness Act in Virginia, because in that legislation, the mountain bikers sat down at the table before the bill was written up with the wilderness people and worked out a compromise that everyone could live with. It's not just me, the guy that works at the bike shop, who's up in arms about this wilderness. It's the County Commission, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and the Chamber of Commerce of Tucker County are all against this wilderness proposal, as well as all the businesses on the main street that I've talked to. There is only one business, even on record, in the whole county that supports this bill out of a lot of tourism, retail type businesses that depend on this outdoor tourism.
While wilderness areas are closed to bicycles, horseback riding, hiking, camping, hunting, and fishing are allowed. But Jezero is concerned about how wilderness impacts the hunting and fishing conditions.
I'm here looking out for the hunters, the fishermen, the people who pay the price. The hunters and fishermen buy stamps, they buy license, they buy National Forest stamps. Mountain bikers, photographers, hikers, you don't need to buy anything. You can just go use it. But the people who pay for all of this are the hunters and fishermen. Most species of wildlife, and especially those that are important to the hunters and fishermen in this state, the deer, the turkey, the grouse, the small game, the rabbits, all depend on a regenerating early successional forest. So while we understand the position of the wilderness, we also realize we have to have that ability to go in there and make clearings. There are times when we have to go in and cut timber to create these clearings, to create this habitat where wildlife can breed, can raise their young, and have food.
The DNR also manages some acidic streams in the state, using lime treatments to balance the pH so fish can survive. How the DNR accomplishes this would have to change in wilderness areas.
The liming itself can be done in wilderness. What's not allowed is the motorized access if you want to get to the stream by a vehicle. But if you can find other ways of delivering the lime, then it's allowed. St. Mary's Wilderness in Virginia is a good example where they're using helicopters to actually drop limestone fines in the headwater streams. Same thing with the idea of using horses and a horse-drawn wagon to carry fines in along the Middle Fork River. There's been discussion about that too. So we just have to use more creative ways of delivering the limestone fines. It's not that we can't lime the stream, because that is allowed in the Wilderness Act.
Someone even said, well, you said you could take that limestone in there on a sled with horses or something. Well, how do you, it's not practical. You can't do that. And you can't go in there and cut to make clearings, to make wildlife clearings. You just can't do it. You can't take any mechanized implement into the wilderness area.
Despite this, some anglers in West Virginia see wilderness as an advantage. 2 chapters of Trout Unlimited in West Virginia have signed on to the wilderness proposal.
When you look at a stream like Seneca Creek that has those unique qualities, you would like to see it preserved. And it's not just a matter of fishing. There's obviously a need to set aside certain areas of the forest just so we have areas that don't receive logging or impacts from human interaction, so that we can have it for future generations, my grandchildren and so forth. The bottom line for most of us is the fact that it's just a quality trout stream that we would like to see protected.
Extractive industries like logging and mining are not allowed in wilderness areas, but none of the areas listed in the Wild Mon bill are currently open to these industries anyway. The areas are already managed as backcountry. The difference between backcountry and wilderness is that the wilderness designation is harder to change. In fact, no wilderness designation has ever been reversed.
Every 10 to 15 years, the forest plan is revised. And so we would have to have, a campaign every 10 or 15 years. Wilderness designation is permanent protection. This designation is done by a congressional act.
The Wild Mon bill still has to be approved by Congress and signed by the President. No action has been taken since a hearing on the bill was held in February. For Outlook, I'm Emily Corio.
The House of Representatives is expected